President, this is your prize. This is your Peace Prize. There is also a beautiful medal for you that you can wear everywhere you want to go.
I'm gonna wear it right now.
Okay.
Donald Trump has a Peace Prize. Not the Nobel Peace Prize, the one he has desperately wanted for years, the one that has been dangled in front of him by advisors and never arrived. No, he has the FIFA Peace Prize, a trophy and a medal handed to him by the president of the world's governing soccer body on December 5, 2025, at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., during the draw for the 2026 World Cup. Trump called it truly one of the great honors of my life, and he meant it. He genuinely, completely meant it. The man who once demanded a Nobel Prize accepted a consolation prize from a soccer organization and was moved. That alone should tell you everything you need to know about what is happening here. But it gets better, because this week, the New York Times published a deep investigation into how that prize was created, who created it, and why. And the answer is not what anyone in the room that December night was willing to say out loud. The FIFA Peace Prize was not awarded to Donald Trump because of his extraordinary contributions to world peace. It was invented, specifically, solely, entirely, to keep Donald Trump happy enough not to destroy the 2026 World Cup. That is not hidden agenda speculation. That is what FIFA's own officials told the New York Times. And the story of how a $6 billion soccer tournament turned into a hostage negotiation with the President of the United States is one of the most revealing things to happen in American politics this year. Let's start with Gianni Infantino. The FIFA president has been, by any reasonable measure, one of the most aggressive and transparent Trump courtiers of the past 2 years. He attended Trump's inauguration. He became a regular visitor to the Oval Office. He was a fixture at Mar-a-Lago. And in July of 2025, FIFA opened an office in Trump Tower, a building owned by the President of the United States, an office that, according to FIFA officials, sits largely unused. Think about what that means for a moment. The governing body of the world's most popular sport rented space inside the personal real estate portfolio of the sitting American president, not because they needed the office space, because they needed to signal something. They needed Trump to feel valued, included, invested. Because Infantino understood something very clearly. The 2026 World Cup, with its matches split between the United States, Canada, and Mexico, was the most important event in FIFA's modern history. It was a chance to crack the American market, the one major country where soccer has never fully broken through, and the entire project could be derailed by one man's mood. The Peace Prize was the logical conclusion of this strategy. According to the New York Times, there were no other candidates considered for the award. The prize was not created through any standard FIFA process. It was invented specifically for this occasion, specifically for this recipient, with one purpose: to make Trump feel appreciated enough to stay out of FIFA's way during the tournament. The irony is almost too perfect. Donald Trump, the man who has spent his entire second term dismantling international cooperation, imposing tariffs on allies, threatening NATO, and pursuing an America First agenda that has alienated virtually every major international institution, was given a Peace Prize by an international institution that was desperately trying to manage him. But here's where Infantino's strategy has run directly into the wall of reality, because the very problems the Peace Prize was designed to prevent have happened anyway. Right now, as the World Cup begins, players and officials from multiple countries cannot enter the United States. Omar Abdul Qadir Artan, who was set to become the first Somali referee ever to officiate a World Cup match, was denied entry by U.S. immigration. Somalia's government said it tried to negotiate directly with the United States and with FIFA, and failed. Artan's historic moment was erased by a visa system that the Trump administration has turned into a political instrument. And he is not alone. Visa rejection rates for nationals of countries like Ghana, Congo, Jordan, Cape Verde, Algeria, Haiti, Egypt, and Ecuador have reached levels that effectively make attendance impossible. Rejection rates above 40% for some countries. Iran's team was granted visas, but their coaching staff and support personnel were not, forcing them to operate out of Mexico between matches. 3 games in the United States, and the team cannot bring its own support structure. This is what hosting the World Cup looks like when the host country uses its immigration system as a weapon. FIFA understood this was a risk. That is precisely why Infantino spent 2 years cultivating Trump, opening offices in his buildings, attending his parties, inventing awards for him. And it happened anyway. Because you cannot buy your way out of a policy. The Peace Prize bought goodwill with Trump personally. It could not change what his administration was doing at every point of entry into the country. And now the blowback has arrived from inside FIFA itself. According to the New York Times, the Peace Prize has enraged FIFA member associations. The organization is supposed to be apolitical. Its members represent more than 200 nations, many of whom have complicated and hostile relationships with the Trump administration. Watching their governing body invent a prize from scratch and hand it to the American president with no other candidates, no transparent process, no genuine deliberation, was for many of those members a humiliation. There are now calls within FIFA to investigate Infantino. Some members are pushing for his removal. The man who thought he was securing the World Cup by flattering the president may have instead triggered a governance crisis inside the institution he runs. And the Americans themselves are not particularly impressed. The World Cup is being overshadowed by the NBA Finals, by the Iran war, by the cascading Trump scandals we cover on this channel every week. The great American soccer moment Infantino bet his presidency on is arriving in a country that has other things on its mind. There is also this. The same week Trump received his FIFA Peace Prize, federal prosecutors moved to drop bribery charges against Hernan Lopez, a media executive connected to a previous FIFA corruption case. The charges, prosecutors said, were baseless. The timing, as CNN reporter Aaron Blake noted publicly, was striking. A week after FIFA gives Trump a newly created award, a prosecution connected to a FIFA-adjacent figure gets dropped. Nobody has proven a direct connection. But the pattern of behavior, the office in Trump Tower, the Mar-a-Lago visits, the invented prize, the dropped charges, is the kind of pattern that demands documentation. And today, it has it, in the New York Times. Here is what the FIFA story ultimately reveals about how power works in the Trump era. Institutions, domestic and international, have been forced to make a choice. They can resist and face the consequences. Visa denials, tariff threats, regulatory hostility, public attacks from the most powerful person on earth. Or they can cooperate. They can rent offices in Trump Tower. They can invent prizes. They can attend inaugurations and send their presidents to Mar-a-Lago and hope that the transaction is worth it. FIFA chose cooperation. And what the New York Times investigation shows is that cooperation did not work. The visas were denied anyway. The officials were excluded anyway. And the cost of the cooperation, the credibility damage, the internal revolt, the global perception of FIFA as a political instrument of the American president may turn out to be higher than the cost of resistance would have been. Trump accepted the prize, called it one of the great honors of his life, and then his administration kept doing exactly what it was going to do regardless. That is the hidden agenda, not FIFA's, Trump's. The message his administration sends to every institution that tries to buy its way into his good graces is always the same. We will take the prize. We will take the office rental. We will take the Mar-a-Lago visits, and we will still do what we were going to do, because the transaction was never real. The goodwill was never purchased. The Peace Prize was never going to buy peace. It was going to buy a photo opportunity. And the World Cup is paying the price.